opens a new era with Africa. Good evening, I'm Rose Shayo. You can follow us live via our YouTube channel TBConline and get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages at TBConline. Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango earlier today arrived in the city of Baku in Azerbaijan, where he is expected to represent President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan in a non-aligned movement meeting on the 2nd of March 2023. The non-aligned movement member states will discuss about strategic ways to deal with the effects of COVID-19 as well as set a joint non-aligned movement vision on post-pandemic recovery. Minister of Finance and Planning Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba says the implementation of the maternal and newborn healthcare project in Tanzania is set to improve after the World Bank provided Tanzania with a concessional worth of 1.264 trillion shillings.
Funds will be allocated as US dollars 304.9 million for the Sustainable Rural Water and Sanitation Project, out of which 300 million is an IDA concessional loan equivalent to 689.51 billion Tanzanian shillings, and 4.93 million US dollars equivalent to 11.32 billion Tanzanian shillings as a grant for energy sector management assistance program, and 275 million US dollars as a Tanzania maternal and child health project, out of which 250 million is an IDA concessional loan equivalent to 574.59 billion Tanzanian shillings, and 25 million US dollars equivalent to 574.59 as a grant for the Global Financing Facility for Women, Children and Adolescents Multi-Donor Trust Fund.
The Deputy Minister for Health, Dr. Godwin Mollel, and the Zanzibar Health Director, Dr. Nur Mohammed, say the financial assistance will give required support to the mother and child health care projects in the country.
To strengthen provision of maternal and child health services, considering the country's priorities and the content of this funding cycle.
French President Emmanuel Macron calls for opening a new era and the rollout of a more ambitious economic policies with Africa in a bid to boost France's relations with Africa. President Macron is expected to commence his official visit to 4 African states, Gabon, Republic of Congo, DRC, and Angola, starting tomorrow. To understand more about how Tanzania and Africa will benefit from this tour, our colleague Nasa Kingu spoke with the French ambassador to Tanzania, Nabil Hajlawi.
Great pleasure today to be joined with the French ambassador to Tanzania, His Excellency Mr. Nabil Hajlawi. He's going to break it down for us what Tanzania and the whole of Africa should expect from President Emmanuel Macron's visit to 4 African states. The visit that is expected to start tomorrow, but it means a lot to the African continent. But also the newly announced revamped or more ambitious economic cooperation between France and African countries. Your Excellency, welcome to TBC News.
Thank you.
Great pleasure to be with you today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We understand President Emmanuel Macron will start his visit with Gabon, where he's expected to attend the environment-related summit. And we understand issues of climate is a global issue affecting many countries, including Tanzania. What should Africa and Tanzania expect from France this time around?
Well, Africa and Tanzania can expect from France a renewed commitment towards environment and sustainable development. This is what it is about. This visit to Gabon is related to a forest summit, a summit on forests. And when you look at forests in the world and their role, you have two places, the Amazon in Latin America and also Africa. And these two areas are very important, crucial for the carbon in the world and also for the best management of the climate change in the coming years. That's why the visit will start there. And Tanzania, of course, is a neighboring country and a country with a huge forest and a huge legacy in environment in general. And we work here on a daily basis with the Tanzanians to make this more sustainable, make this more profitable to climate, to all the Africans, but also to Europeans, because this is something which is global and we share it. That's why the visit of the President Macron will start there in Gabon.
So we should expect a new page in terms of French support to African countries as far as climate change is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what the President explained yesterday. He has held yesterday in Paris a very big press conference explaining the reasons he's going to pay this visit to 4 countries in Africa. He explained the rationale of the French involvement in general in Africa. He said, for example, that he has visited so far 21 countries in Africa. It's really huge number in African continent that he's visiting and that he's going to continue visiting in the coming period. And this new page is a commitment to work more with the African people, and it is the proof that we believe that our cooperation with Africa is on the long term.
President Emmanuel Macron is the first French president born after the end of the colonial era, and he has been extending relations with English-speaking countries. He tried with Kenya and other countries as well. There is this perception that France has been collaborating more with French-speaking African countries. This time around, he's going to Angola, which is a Portuguese-speaking nation. What does this transpire?
This shows that we want to cooperate with all the Africans. History is there, of course. There are some countries in Africa that are French-speaking. This is something that is there, and we can celebrate French-speaking relations also. But our role is really to cooperate with all our partners, whatever their language is, whatever their history is.
President Emmanuel Macron announcing about the new rollout of a more ambitious economic cooperation between France and African countries. We understand this time around Tanzania is not on his list to visit, but what does this mean as far as France and Tanzania economic ties?
This means that the global commitment for Africa and the good relationship with Africa is there, and the President Macron is increasing this. He's going to visit 4 countries in one tour. It's very, very significant. And it means also that we continue preparing this visit here to Tanzania. And we are crossing our fingers, and we hope that President Emmanuel Macron will have the opportunity to come to Tanzania and visit this wonderful country. What I can tell you is that he is really willing to do it. He wants to do it, provided that he has time and the opportunity to do it.
Your Excellency, thank you very much for having an interview with us.
Zanzibar's Minister of Education and Vocational Training, Hamis Abdullah Said, says teachers have a pivotal role in ensuring that students learn life skills to help them become independent within the society. He made the remarks during a meeting on policies for sustainable development in education held in Dar es Salaam.
Na kuna vipaumbele ambavyo vimewekwa ili turekebishe There are priorities that have been set to strengthen our education sector. Preparing professionals will help social and economic development. And the area of training to teachers is very important because they have a great contribution in providing quality education, as well as young people are very important in their development, so they must be built with life skills that will help them in their economic development.
Lazima wajengewe uwezo na stadi za maisha ambazo tutasaidia katika maendeleo ya uchumi.
The Director of Basic Education from the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, Venance Manori, reiterates that practical education will help solve many challenges. The meeting was organized by the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in collaboration with the United Nations Educational and Scientific Organization. The government, through the Ministry of Health, warns Tanzanians over self-medication that has been reported to cause an increase in number of people with kidney and liver diseases. The remarks were made by the Dar es Salaam Regional Health Coordinator, who was representing Dar es Salaam Regional Chief Medical Officer at the end of the free special screening for kidney, liver and heart problems organized by specialists from India and coordinated by DSB Polyclinic Hospital.
We continue to work on capturing the ones who conduct the medicine business unlawfully. Also, the civilians should not buy medicine from unauthorized shops. They should always buy prescribed drugs.
It is very important to do regular health checkups. Some diseases do not have visible symptoms, so they may be affecting you without you being aware.
Explaining their observations, the doctors say they have encountered positive cases of diabetic conditions among most who sought their screening. They have called on the dietary behavior change and regular exercises to help reduce the problem.
Kidney problems, as we know, are increasing day by day, and the number of patients on dialysis is increasing almost 20% per year, every year. So we need to basically come ahead and create not only exclusive and high centers, but we have to make people aware of the illness.
We need to have a higher awareness so that these patients do not suffer. We are there, and the fact is that nowadays we have got excellent therapy available for heart diseases and kidney diseases, and we should not be deprive the patients of the correct treatment which is available.
Tanzanian ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Ali Mwadini, says that the government, in collaboration with the Saudi Arabian Airlines, plan to establish direct flights to Saudi Arabia, where the first flight from Dar es Salaam to Jeddah is expected to start on March 26, 2023. Our colleague Alpha Wawa got a chance earlier to talk to the Tanzanian ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Ali Mwadini, who starts off by explaining how Tanzania will benefit from the trip.
This is good news for everyone. We at the embassy are very happy because we have been following up on this matter for a long time, more than 2.5 years now. And now that is going to happen, we are very happy, and we believe it will bring a lot of positive impact in many areas. You know, we are always promoting trade, tourism, and investment. There are lots of investors here in Saudi Arabia who are interested in investing in Tanzania. And many people also would like to bring products from Tanzania, include particularly meat and fruits, as well as vegetables, but as well as the fruits and other products. You need to have good transportation system. Also, we are expecting to increase the number of tourists because of this, thanks to this flight from Jeddah to Dar es Salaam. But also we have many people from Tanzania coming to Saudi Arabia to perform Umrah and Hajj or to visit this country. And some of them are older people. Traveling through a third country is always a problem. So we are expecting to have a boom in transportation services between Tanzania and Saudi Arabia. And this will definitely have a positive impact on our economy. But also this will help farmers to reach this market easily, and also producers of different products, including fish as well. I mentioned meat and fruits, but fish is also needed here in Saudi Arabia, especially Nile perch from Lake Victoria.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador Ali Modini, Ambassador of Tanzania to Saudi Arabia. Thank you for speaking with us this evening.
Thank you so much.
Tanzania is one of the countries participating in trade and tourism exhibitions in South Africa, where more than 320 buyers from 57 countries in the world are meeting with the aim of doing business to develop the African economy. Margaret Getty reports.
Here at the Sandton Convention Center in Johannesburg, South Africa, is where Meetings Africa will be conducted in the next 2 days, where Tanzania will be one of the exhibitors exhibiting in this trade show, which is the biggest trade show here in Africa.
We understand that meetings, or MICE as it is called, is also part of promoting tourism, because through meetings, that's where you can also direct visitors to other places like in the wildlife. So it's very important that we participate in such meetings like this one. We have participation from Tanzania this time, but I think next time we'll need more participation.
Managing Director of the Tanzania Tourist Board has said that this exhibition is a great opportunity to promote Tanzania internationally that will contribute to the country's income.
Being a Tanzania Tourism Board, we are seeing the opportunity of pushing this portfolio because it will help to bring a lot of tourists in the country. And you know, the good thing about MICE tourism, you can't just focus only on a specific destination or a location. Like we're very famous in Arusha, the northern side of Tanzania, but this also can spread throughout the country.
To add on that, Chairman of the African Tourism Board calls on Africans to showcase the beauty of the continent.
With all these business opportunities that prevail in Africa, it is time for us to speak with one voice. It is time for us to display what we have. So I'm quite excited from the African Tourism Board perspective. This is what we need, and it should persist. We need to see more of these engagements where Africa gets together.
On the other hand, various tourism and business stakeholders who were participating in Meetings Africa added that there's a great importance in participating in this kind of exhibition.
So I'm here at the Meetings Africa. It's an exhibition and forum in South Africa, mainly because I wanted to learn about how others are doing meetings, how others are doing trainings, and how best we can copy and actually come and do it at our home in terms of sustainable events, sustainable meetings, and mostly to make sure that we go with the trends and the technologies that are right now happening within the world.
The event has been going very well. Up until now, we have seen so many people coming and everyone knows about our country. So that's a very good thing. At least the brand knowledge is there. So the only thing that's left is for us to sell out the attractions, the hotel and everything else.
More than 20 African countries exhibiting at the Meetings Africa 2023, Tanzania being one of them. Reporting from Johannesburg, South Africa, this is Margaret Getty.
Well, that marks the end of the local news. International news is up next. Ahmed Salum with international news.
President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda is in South Africa for a state visit, which is his first since 2011, and he was welcomed by his South African counterpart, President Cyril Ramaphosa, at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. President Ramaphosa says he hopes that the excellent relations between South Africa and Uganda will translate into development and prosperity for the people of both countries. Both presidents will preside over the signing of 6 memoranda of understanding. Back in East Africa, the United States government has donated at least Kenyan shillings 16 billion in support of Kenya's drought relief efforts. The U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, has said the funds will help meet the urgent needs for approximately 1.3 million people across Kenya. The additional food assistance to Kenya comes amid an ongoing drought that has left more than 4 million people in hunger crisis, with the number expected to rise to over 5 million by June this year. USAID will provide emergency food items such as sorghum, maize, yellow split peas, and vegetable oil for families living in areas where local markets are not functioning. And in areas where markets are functioning, partners will provide cash-based assistance for families. In Nigeria, 3 opposition parties have called for Nigeria's election to be cancelled and rerun, allegedly over widespread irregularities. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, the Labour Party, and the African Democratic Congress, ADC, made the announcement at a press conference in the capital, Abuja. They were critical of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and its handling of the electronic voting system. On the other hand, initial tallies on Monday show that Nigeria's ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu took an early lead in the race for the presidency with more than 3.8 million votes, followed by Atiku Abubakar, who had 3 million votes, and Peter Obi of Labour Party with 1.6 million votes. Meanwhile, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has urged the country's electoral body to save the country from a looming danger over what he described as corruption of the electoral process, while the federal government has admonished him not to truncate the 2023 general elections with his inciting, self-serving and provocative statement on the ongoing electoral process. And the death toll from the migrant tragedy off Italy's southern coast rose to at least 63 people after rescue crews recovered several bodies, with dozens more believed to be missing. At least 8 of the dead were children who perished after a wooden boat broke up in stormy seas on the shores of the Calabrian coast. 8 people survived. More were feared dead, given survivor accounts that the boat, which set off from Turkey last week, was carrying about 170 people.
That was international news. Sports news is up next. Sports Benjamin Mkapa Stadium manager Salum Tumbuke says the government is currently in the process of carrying out major renovations of the stadium after receiving the recommendations from the Confederation of African Football CAF Audit Committee. Here is Malio Cheto with more details.
Sports news starts in Dar es Salaam, where the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium manager Salum Tumbuka says the government is ready to carry out major renovations within the stadium to fulfill recommendations given by Confederation of African Football CAF Audit Committee. Mtumbuka reveals that the procedure will start with improving the most important areas of the stadium.
So far, according to CAF report that we have received a few days ago, now the government are on the way.
We have received a report from CAF which shows there are some areas that we need to improve our national stadium. We are taking it very serious, and trust me, we will do that, no problem, because that is our stadium. It has to be in order. So any inputs that we get, whether from CAF or any stakeholder, we take them into consideration.
Minor repairs such as wall painting and the watering pitch have already started, where the major renovation is expected to start after CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup matches have been played. Dar es Salaam Basketball Association is determined to bring the revolution of the game at the regional and national levels by providing training to referees of the game. The association chairman Shindu Mangala says the training aims at producing referees who will administer the game with fairness. On his part, referees instructor Shabani Mahobonya adds that the training is expected to draw experience from Rwanda, who are well advanced in basketball.
Referees, because it's very important for our referees to learn our rules and regulations.
If we want to have achievement on basketball game, we must go through players playing well, referee know well about the rules, spectators know well about the rules in order to grow the basketball game.
The training is expected to take place for 5 days. Government spokesman Garrison Msigo says the government will increase the amount of the prize money to Simba Sports Club and the Young African Sports Club for the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederation Cup every goal.
Promised is 5 million per each goal, and there are some other stakeholders who have promised to top up 1 million each. So far, we have pledges of around 6 million. So if you plus the 5, it will be 11 million for each goal. So I urge all those who have promised to fulfill their promises, because we heard them from the media, and they have to be done because they said by themselves. We did not force them, so they have to provide the money to Yanga and Simba as they promised.
Young Africans has already pocketed 20 million Tanzania shillings, while the arch-rival Simba has received 5 million shillings from the government. Tanzania international long-distance runner Alphonse Simbu says his biggest dream right now is to win a gold medal in the upcoming Olympic Games next year. The bronze medal winner in the Osaka Marathon believes that hard working is the key in doing well in Olympic competition.
So I'm ready. So I'm back to prepare for World Championship. So I need cooperation from all members of Athletics Tanzania and the other leaders.
Simbu won the bronze medal in Osaka Marathon held in Japan, and now is gearing up for World Athletics Championship that will be held in Hungary. Malio Cheto, TBC News.
We have come to the end of our bulletin for tonight. I'm Rose Shayo. Thank you so much for watching.